Yeah, no, it's all that. You got to learn. So your best investment, we teach our clients. I just did a show that we dropped. Is your number one asset is you. So your best investment is into your knowledge. You know, by far where I've made to see the biggest jump in my revenue and my asset, my number one assets, my number one asset is Curtis. My number one investment are my businesses. And then I use the businesses to buy real estate, right? And then our tax code favors, it's designed for landowners and business owners. So, you know, we have to learn the game because it's hard to win a game. You don't know the rules. And a lot of times we're playing by the wrong rules, Terry, or we don't know the rules at all. So it's like me trying to beat you at checkers rules, or, you know, I'm trying to beat you at chess, but you're a grand wizard, grandmaster. And, I don't know how to play. Yeah, I just learned how to play. So we're not going to win that game. And that's kind of what we're doing with money. And then the institutions taught us the rules, right? And so it's not, this is my thing. So the process of banking, Nelson would always say, is ridiculously simple. It doesn't need to be sensationalized, right? It's fundamental to understand the truth, which your money's got to reside somewhere. We call it building a warehouse to wealth. So our major question is, where do you store your liquidity? Okay. And then somewhere, somebody is going to perform the banking function. Banking just means storage. Okay. In your life. And as it relates to your needs, and who is it, you know, how much are you financing? That will tell you how much. People say, well, how much does it cost? Well, what's your need for financing? How soon do you want to have enough money so that you can first you can knock out your need, you could recapture your car financing. You know, we show people how to use their banking system, their policy that usually most time is to how to recapture their debt. You know, I had this woman who has like $43,000 of debt. This is a call I just got on before we got off of her call, and I showed her how to basically get out of all of her $43,000 in 36 months and have $20,000 saved up. Once it was complete, she'd be out of debt. I freed up $1,600 a month, and she has $20,000 in her cash values. And with using the money she was already using, right? And that's the kind of stuff. And you know, it's funny. Her husband was almost like, he's looking at me like I'm crazy, like amazed, like, thank you so much for this, because I just broke it down, and it's ridiculously simple. It's just, you know, we have to learn it first. I'm so mad because I was like super Uncle Dave on steroids, you know, with my practice company where basically the foundation was buy term, invest the difference. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 1999, and I realized, wow, everything I'm teaching is not what he's teaching. Although I thought I was, you know, in the field, and I'm this is not working. Then the more I got into it, the more I read it, you know, people with money do completely opposite, not different, like 180 degrees different than rich people and middle income people think completely different. You want to get out of debt, you know, wealthy people want more debt, if you buy an apartment building, you don't have a liability. You're not in debt, and the tenants are paying your loan back. So you have to unlearn. I was talking to a couple, and I said, well, what's your rate on your mortgage? It's cent. I was like, well, why are you sending extra money to pay that off? Current rates are 7%. That means inflation is higher. Let the Fed destroy the debt for you. So, you know what I mean? And so it's just, it seems counterintuitive when I say stop doing that. It's better that you can use your money other places, because if you can't make more than 4%, then y'all need to sign up for this challenge.
Oh, they need to sign up, because I got right now a few of my clients, and I tell them going in, you got to prioritize liquidity. You got to make sure you have consistent cash flow, even when you have tenants. And the concept is that they're going to pay the mortgage, right? Yeah, that's great in theory. But there's times where they don't pay their rent, right? And so who is left with that bag? And so people they play the game, and you said it earlier, but sometimes they're not playing it with the full instructions, or not willing to take the time to learn the full instructions. You know, in our program, and I'm just going to get back to you. And my 3-month program, we don't even hit a strategy, executing on a strategy until month 3. Why? Because I need to make sure your infrastructure is tight. I need to make sure you understand the language. I need to make sure you understand all of these agencies that you interact with and how they deal. I need you to see some scenarios. I need you to come on site. I need you to make sure, because it's a total different ball game in live time. It's beyond this, oh, you just can get a credit card and fund your first property. There's more to that story. And if you just go on that, you could be left holding the bag actually instead of building the bag. So you want to make sure that,
Amen.
whether you are investing, whether you are, trying to relocate, trying to do something for your family, whether you want to travel, whether you want to expose your family to other cultures or whatever it is. One thing we all can agree on, it takes money to be able to do that. And oftentimes people are living 100% off of earned income. You're not going to be able to get ahead like that. That math don't math. So you want to do that. Now, real quick before Curtis gets back, because I want to ask him to go walk us through conceptually how this process works. But we want to take a quick break for our sponsor. Our sponsor is BBI Consultants. Their information is in the chat. We're grateful to our sponsors today for allowing us to be here and deliver this information, because this is the flex. Again, at the top of the hour, I said, if anything you're going to do in this time, if you're going to do anything, you need to be positioning yourself to invest or to save in a way that allows you to get income producing assets, right? We're buying a ton of things, but they're not producing anything. So money is going out, it's leaving our hands, but is it coming back at the rate we need it to come back? And it's not, right? And so we want to make sure, we invest in the right things at the right time. And in this community, we're going to go through cycles and help you to understand and what's happening in the market and when. We're going to go over a lot of the things that Curtis mentioned is going to happen inside of here, so you don't have to worry. But you don't get points for coming and stockpiling information. That's great that you show up, but you get manifestation for the information that you implement, right? The education that you execute on. And so we want you to continue to take notes. Once again, thanks to our sponsor for tonight, BBI Consultants. And with that, Curtis, tell us how the system, the process is established. And I know that that's going to be different for everybody, right? It may look different from everyone, but conceptually, tell us how this process works.
Yeah. So it's not even conceptually. So what we do is you want to look at, and what I do, so this is what you're working with us. So I want people to get mentally in the frame to do it. So I want them to read the book, and they can be doing it concurrently. It doesn't have to completely finish, but you're going to get through the book, because it's be your own banker, right? It's not a gimmick to sell insurance. All right. So that now you have to qualify financially. So we want to look at, and I take people through a process. I kind of want to see, what are you trying to accomplish? Right. Cause this is strategy, but you're here and you're trying to get somewhere, and how can I get you from point A to point B safely and with most efficiency? All right. At some point, if we feel you're ready, we're going to apply for life insurance. It is a life, you're using insurance. So we're going to apply for insurance and that we got to make sure you're healthy, and they're going to, sometimes it goes right through. Sometimes you have to take an exam, and that might take 3-4 weeks. While we're working on that with our clients, we're like kind of going over your cash flow, going over your goals. So by the time we get this call from the insurance company and offer, we'll have a plan. We know how much you have the ability, how you want to capitalize your system. That's your job. So for example, because people still say, how much does it cost? So I'll answer back and say, all right, listen, I'm just going to use round numbers, add a 0 or take off a 0. This is too much. But if you make $100,000 a year household, then I want you saving 15% of your gross income, right? So 15% is 15,000. So now I might not even let you put all 15,000 through a policy, right? We might have you put 5,000 of it into the bank if you don't have any liquidity, and then we'll start your policy with 10 grand a year, which is about $800 a month. So it depends. Everybody's different, but the whole idea is I want you thinking in terms of, I've got to save a portion of my gross income. I'm going to have some of it. I'm going to have you put in a high yield savings account, and some of it are going to run through a policy. And then once we get approval, we'll get it set up. We start it, you fund it, which means you write a check to the insurance company. And then what we put people on is a quarterly cadence where we check in managing their cash flow. And so that's kind of our whole process. We're there. It's just not a gimmick to, you see us and, all right, have a nice life. You take a loan, Curtis, you're getting a call from my office. Okay, great. You need any help with that? And what are the payments that you're going to pay back to yourself? Because you have to be an honest banker. So it's, if once you get us, you're kind of stuck with us, because I'm going to make sure you win. My goal is to, every year, you need to be better than you were the year before I met you. And that's really quite trackable, right? So I'm measuring, did your debt go down?
And that's facts. That's facts.
Good plans don't work on hope, right? Hope ain't a good strategy. So, but I can show you, okay, you're getting more efficient. Your liquidity is going up. Your non-preferred debt is going down. Your passive income is going up. Your business revenue is going up. And our ultimate goal is for you to become, this is what the 4 pillars are designed for, right? To become financially free. It's not even really retirement, although this can, be retirement, but retirement in a traditional sense is before people that came into the psyche with FDR. Retirement meant to put out of use, to withdraw, to put out of use is an agricultural term. So what we talk about in Practical Wealth is we want you to be financially free. All right. And financial freedom is a capacity, right? Meaning that you can live like you want to live from the income from your personally invested resources. And that don't just happen. You have to decide to do that, right? And then track it and focus on it. And you don't just walk, I'm going for a walk, and you end up on the top of Mount Everest. That, how'd I get here? I'm on the top of Mount Everest. No, you got to go, to Nepal. You got to get base camp. You got equipment. It's the same ascent to financial freedom. You got to prepare. You got to learn some stuff. You need a guide, which is called a Sherpa. So think of Curtis and Practical Wealth as your financial Sherpa. So, and it's fun though, but it's because when you talk about creating generational wealth, when you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, the whole title of the book is Rich Dad Poor Dad, Would Wealthy People Teach Their Kids That the Poor and Middle Class Don't? And so, and if you don't learn these rules that both of us are trying to teach you, the only thing you can say is go to school, get your education, get a good job. And so you're lying to them.
Yes. Yes.
So anyway, other than that, we have no strong feelings about the matter.
Jesus, come on here. God, I'm glad you beat me to it. God, that's all we can say. And it's
right.
And we didn't even realize we're driving them into debt because they gotta, then every generation is starting from zero. And it's like, Lord, someone was telling me the other day, well, that's how it was in our family. Well, shame on you, because you have access to much more than your parents had, right? I know their parents. I know, their level of education. I know who they were around. And this person has much more exposure. And it's one of the things I say, exposure should lead to expansion. There is no way you should be in a position to keep doing the same thing over and over again, especially when it didn't work out well for you. There was no way I was going to have my children going to, funding college on their own. I didn't like that. I don't know about anybody else, but when I had to go and file as an independent student, I worked 2 jobs. I was a RA, plus I worked outside of school. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't commit to total learning during my high school years, I had to study 3 times over. That's a lot of stress. I couldn't even enjoy all that college provided for me, the space, I just wasn't, I never was settled because I had so many things I had to worry about. And so these spaces are for us to ensure that, we are healing our generations, healing and providing healing to our financial DNA based on where we've come from, and I do believe you can heal 10 generations forwards and 10 generations backwards. I'm gonna say this last thing and then you can finish with, is it like the bank where you put money in and withdraw it? Just hold that thought. But one of my mentors, she was sharing this story about her son, and she was sharing how they were having a conversation about just how their generation, I don't know what you call them, Gen X or who, I don't know, is, just always stressed out, and, they're just always stressed out. I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to be too offensive. And he said to her, and she went on to tell him, like, I had to work 3 jobs. I did this, I did that. Some days I went hungry. And he said, Mom, that's not my story. And she said at that moment, she realized she had just shifted the narrative in her family, that it had changed for her bloodline. And he was right. They never knew what a struggle was, right? That was live in time, an example of what we do today can shift and change the trajectory of things that have occurred in our bloodline. That's a live example. So I just wanted to share that and just, give some more validity to what, you were saying before I jumped in. Do you want to say anything more about that before you answer the question? Is your personal economy, this process of establishing your own banking system, is it like a bank where you put in money and you withdraw?
No. Okay. You are paying premium. Okay. And it's not even money. It's a ledger balance, right? So what happens is when you look at your policy, and we can get usually the first year, it doesn't go in dollar for dollar because the IRS made a rule that if you try to put too much money into an insurance contract, they'll treat it like a 4K. It's called a MEC. So you have to know how to fund it. So you fund it below the MEC guidelines. So when we're building them, we're literally solving for how little insurance would the IRS let you get away with as per their rules. Most clients with us, we get 2 policies because the first thing what I'm not going to do is let you be underinsured, right? So we'll make up the difference. And so if you make $100,000 and you're say you're 38, then you can have, won't say you should have, like $2.5 million worth of total coverage. And so we're going to do that between your 2 policies because, you say you want to leave a legacy. Well, that's where your legacy starts. Your legacy starts with buying your net worth of life insurance, and then you bid your will and your trust and your pour over will. Boom. Now you secured the end, and now you're free to do your thing, but you already know because your plan is supposed to work regardless. Okay. So we start there. All right. So now when you are funding a cash value policy, because see, what is cash value? So let's back. This is going to be the nerdy part, but I want people to understand this because nobody breaks this down to people. What you see in your policy is, so when you look at a policies endow, you put money in, it's a contract. So it has to have a certain amount of money in until you're 120, right? So it grows. So when you see the cash value, and let's say you got, it's supposed to be $1.5 million when you at 120, if you see a $12,000 worth of cash value, that is the net present value of that $1.5 million. So that's what that is worth today. That's what you're looking at. And so now what happens is it's secured because you're collateralizing, meaning when you get money from the insurance, it's not a withdrawal, it's a loan, right? But whose money are you borrowing? You're borrowing their money. Because see, if you don't understand it ain't your money, then you'll say something dumb back to me like, why am I borrowing my own money? You ain't borrowing your own money. You borrowing their money, right? And because if they loan it, the contract says it's a contract, right? It's contract law. And so they have to give you you money. I have people, get 100,000 in like 3 days. And all they had to do was, fax a 1-sheet piece of paper. And then 4 days later, 100,000 showed up in their account. Now where'd the 100,000 come from? They had to save it. So I had a guy who's a tax guy. He gets a lot of money after tax season. So we dumped it in there because there's offices he has to carry on months where there's no revenue after tax season over. So he's literally he's financing that because he was just pulling that out of cash flow. So now he can collateralize it, pay the leases, and then when his business kicks back up again, he can pay back his loans and do that. I've used mine for estimated taxes, right? So any big ticket item you think of, you borrow the inch. So you want to save your money, spend somebody else's. Okay. And so it's not a withdrawal. It's not a bit. Banking's a concept. The life insurance policy isn't even the bank. It's the depository where you store the cash, right? So you've got to think like a business owner. That's the main thing. It's one of the things Nelson talks about in the book, when you read The Grocery Store, he's trying to get you to think like an owner, right? And so we teach our clients to think of it. Everybody should have two businesses: the ones that give you a paycheck, your job or your business, and the banking business. And you think about all of the money that you finance, all of the car loans, all the equipment loans, dentists, all the hundreds of thousands they spend on operatories. That's money leaving your personal economy. So you're running around chasing investments, but you're giving away 2/3 of your money. So if you've got a bucket and it has holes in the bottom, my humble suggestion is that, hey, it's maybe instead of just focus on turning up the faucet, how about we plug the holes? So what do you do, Curtis? I'm the hole plugger guy of your personal economy. How's that?
This guy. Yes, one of the things that I'm always going to be a proponent of is you got to start with a plan. You got to start with a financial plan. Even with investing, it's like your money needs a job. It needs to be employed. You need to tell it where to go. And you need to have some end goals, what are you trying to get to? What are you solving for? Today, tomorrow, generations to come. Like, what is it that you're trying to do so that all of the other things that you do, your activities, are meaningful, right? I believe a lot of people are so unfulfilled because they're just throwing things against the wall and trying to see what sticks. Even people in business, they're like, all right, well, maybe today I'll make some money. Maybe today I won't. Maybe today, no, what is your why? Why are you
think
doing
that way? You are not in business. And, cause my dad used to always tell me, listen, your store's got to be open. And whether sick, depression, you don't have that luxury. You need to get up. You got to open the store.
And the people that work or are working with you, they should have the same drive, right? They should understand where you're going. Curtis always says you can't steer a parked car, right? We all should be driving. We all should be moving. And so one of the things he mentioned was about opportunity accounts and funds. And, in our world is making sure that you have a savings account for every liability. That is possible. And these are some of the strategies that you want to employ so that you can have financial stability and ultimately build financial wealth. So even with the challenge that's coming up, is designed to help you create opportunity funds, opportunity accounts and move away from this grasping at straws and, got a big check here, but don't know when that next big check is coming, right? And that's how some of us are.
So you can't think that way. I'm doing a talk at a couple real estate offices on how to create a structure in your cash flow when you have up and down income, because if you don't control your cash flow, you're always on this roller coaster and you have like commission breath. You don't know, like if you get a store, it's no guarantee somebody's going to come.
Did you say commission breath?
Commission breath, meaning that you're hungry and you're broke and you put emotional pressure on people to do. So you're pressing and you think you don't realize it, but they know you're pressing and it makes you not fun to be around. It makes people not want to do business with you. So you need to kind of have enough liquidity that their deal doesn't matter whether this thing goes through or not, or whether somebody comes in or not. I tell people, so listen, I do this stuff. I'm going to be all right. So whether you do it or not, my family's still going to eat, because this is another talk, but I realize that, I'm in the, I'm in the business of serving my ideal client. And, if I call you, I had to tell somebody that said, listen, we were going to I see you reschedule twice. I said, well, I just want to know, what did I tell her? Basically, it was like, basically, I want to have a conversation that improves your life, right? So I see some areas where I can do that, but if you're not serious about moving forward, don't bother rescheduling.
Listen, that's real. I think sometimes we drag, we have people dragging us and we don't even realize it. And, that's what good business is about, having that type of conversation and, stopping the bleeding earlier. Cause think about if you had 20, I know that you wouldn't. Say if you had 25 people like that, how productive is that? And so even within inside of this community, it's like, we don't want to be that person. We want to do business with integrity. We want to do business consistently. We want to have credibility attached to it. And we want to be able to have the flow that the business is designed to give us. So listen, with that, I can't wait till you facilitate the book. Right now, we're reading Grow and Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, and Becoming a Banker was the next one on the docket. So I'm so looking forward to you participating in that. Are there any questions? Since we have a live audience today, are there any questions? Please put your questions in the chat. We want to, before we close, and this won't be the first time you see Curtis, we're going to be scheduling calls for you all. And getting you inside of his community. One of the things we do is give people monthly access to his community, and you'll learn a little bit more about that. But for now, are there any pressing questions that, you might have, something you may have heard and you need clarification around? Or, if you want to explore infinite banking a little bit more, if you want to, he's adamant about, let me make sure I get this right. Whole life. Is a whole life not being the flex that you?
It's properly structured, dividend paying whole life, but that's the tactic. So that's principle, strategy, tactic. Because the product you buy in anything, not just this, anytime you buy a product, it should be a result of your knowledge, not a substitute for it. When you buy a product, it should be a result of your knowledge, not a substitute for it. So if you don't know why and you don't know how it works, my basic philosophy is, when in doubt, don't. Because my job is to erase the doubt. It's so simple. You overcomplicate it because you're overthinking it. Most of the time people haven't done their homework. So you got all these questions because you haven't done the homework. Well, why am I borrowing my own money? You're not borrowing your own money. You obviously hasn't read the book. So, so I'm going to send y'all a report if you'd like to have it as a gift to come on here. So if y'all will text Be the Bank, BETHE BANK, all one word, to 55444. That's Be the Bank to 55444. We're going to send you our report, The Value of Liquidity. We're going to show you some case studies of how to use this, a strategy of having access to money and and using other people's money, preferably not paying cash, and how to kind of do that. And then once you'll be on my email list. And then if you get the book, just go to Amazon and get Become Your Own Banker. Then if you email me, I will send you a Cliff Note version and a mini course on how to read.
We already have it and we put it in the back office. So you have that inside of the collective. And I posted the report that he's referring to. If you look back at maybe 2 weeks ago, and we'll get it to the top of the feed. I put it I posted it. So we'll make sure that you get that post again. So don't worry about what did he say? How did he say it? We got you. It's all designed in the back office for you. Okay. Are there any questions? All right, okay, let's make sure everybody is still alive, out there. How are you feeling if you are, interested in establishing your own personal economy? Put 2 for the win in the chat. Let me know that, we're speaking to the right community and that, you tapped into this process that we want you to establish, or we're suggesting that you want to establish for you and your family. Curtis, what are 3 pieces of advice you would give to folks? Just in general. It doesn't have to be around finances, but what are 3, mottos, mantras that you live by?
Do as you had them doing to you. When in doubt, don't. I said that one. And what is my other favorite ones? I think we said this last time, but I always say that your economic situation is a matter of choice, not chance. So you can determine that by here's one of my favorite sayings. I just thought about this one. This will be the last one. 2 from Jim Rohn. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better, because you can make yourself better. And then the other one I always hold to is, he says, the winds of adversity blow on us all. And so what you have to learn how to do is set a better sail.
Say that again.
Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. And then go about making yourself better. And then the winds of adversity blow on us all. So the key is, because you can't change the wind, you have to learn how to set a better sail. And so when you're listening to podcasts, when you're reading books, when you're going to conferences, that's you learning how to set a better sail. How do you set a sail when inflation's up? If your candidate didn't win, how do you set a sail to make sure that your family wins? Because your family's got to win no matter what. So you have to learn how to set a better sail. That's one of my favorite things.
Love that. I love that. Okay. And what are you reading right now?
I am reading several things. I just came back from a conference, so I got like 4 books here. So I'm reading Principles-Based Planning. Actually rereading. I'm reading again. I just got The Retirement Ruse by Barry Dyke, who I'm going to have him back on my show. He's got another book he's got 4 books. The other one is called The Pirates of Manhattan, The Highway to Serfdom, this is Pirates of Manhattan 2. He's got Pirates of Manhattan 1. And it's just, how private equity is taking over, how all these people are stealing your money, and they're doing everything I've talked about. Banks store their cash in whole life policies. They don't, most big corporations, the big executives, they don't buy mutual funds. They do their retirement plans in life insurance and annuities. Like, they don't subject their capital to loss. I've been, I'm going to go on my nerdy deep dive. The other one I'm reading is $100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozy. Because if you're in business, you got to have people to talk to. So you got to know how to do that. So your number one investment is in your business, learning how to, finding out who you're meant to serve, and then seeing what problem you can solve for them and letting them know you can serve them.
That's really good. Okay, lastly, what do you do for fun?
I travel. I like traveling. Traveling is our favorite family pastime. I have this kickboxing thing I do 3 days a week at 9 rounds. I like working out. I'm vain. I like to be in shape. Up until COVID, I played basketball 3 days a week. So I'm trying to transition. I may take up golf this summer, but I like to read. Reading. I like my solitude. I like a good wine, some jazz, and a book. And I'm good to go. So,
okay, well,
my journal, in my journal, because I take the idea.
Journal?
A journal, yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I found my old journals. I said some brilliant stuff. I'm looking at journals for like 5, 6, 7 years ago.
No, and I hope this isn't stereotypical. I guess the ratio of men that I hear that actually journal is low. It's like 1 out of every 15.
I try to do everything you think Black people don't do. I do.
Well, I won't say Black people, because there are Black people that journal.
I know. What I'm saying is it's stereotypical, right? So I like sailing and kayaking and Or I just thought about all other, and so do my kids. I hike and rock climb because I told them,
Hiking?
do what yes, but a lot of their peers don't. And I used to tell them, I said, listen, don't do what you want to do. Your people will be where you want to go. You don't have to conform to some norm that's not what we do. That's what you want to do. So you do that. You got to be a leader.
Yeah. Yep. You definitely have to be a leader. And I'm learning that more and more, like be, free in the skin that you're in, figure out what it is that you're supposed to be doing and do that. Right. And someone told me the market is saturated. No.
That's mathematically impossible in any market. That's not a thing.
Any market.
Because another book I just finished is Cash Confidence. So you got to, if you don't have competition if you're constantly focusing on empowering your clients and making your clients better and obsessing over them, their well-being, and serving them. You won't have any competition because nobody's thinking about that. And you don't have that. And so I obsess over how can I help our clients win.
I think that's why me and you are homies. The same thing is like, God, we got to serve. We got to make sure we have good customer service. We got to we want to make sure we're valuable. I was on with someone today and it was like, I didn't expect you to get on. No, if you're not getting what you need, then we're not serving to the capacity that we should be serving, So, well, listen. I know you and I are going to have a part 3. I know you're going to be inside of our community a little bit more in the coming days. So with that, we thank you for spending some time with us. You've had back-to-backs all day, but you did not cancel on us. And you want to make sure, just as I do, that our folks get this information and that they use it to leverage it for improved, financial health and stability and even being positioned to build wealth. So thank you, Curtis May, the man of the hour. I appreciate you so very much. Till next week.
So go to YouTube and go at Curtis May and check out the Practical Wealth Show. If you want more of the madness that is Curtis, we got good 700 videos over there for you. So.
Yep, everyone is saying thank you. So good night, brother. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a good night.
Yo, we could have talked for days, but because we want you to join us next Tuesday for another episode of Terri Talks, that's it for today. Talk soon.